Hello everyone, welcome to the video series of Science 2nd for class 10th. And we have started third chapter, Life Processes in Living Organism part 2. In the previous video, you have learnt about asexual reproduction in unicellular organisms, and it was by binary fission, multiple fission and budding. With the help of examples, you have studied this asexual reproduction in unicellular organisms. Now, next we'll learn about asexual reproduction in multicellular organism. So let's see one by one the methods of asexual reproduction in multicellular organism. The first one is fragmentation. In this type of reproduction, the body of the organism is broken down to several pieces and each piece grows as an independent organism. For example, Spirogyra and Cycon. Now, the agents of separation or fragmentation are winds, animals or insects which are there living in the water, sometimes due to the water current produced due to the rainfall or due to the human activities. Next method is regeneration. In regeneration, an organism has regenerative cells in some part of the body. So under certain conditions, if these animals are broken down to some parts, then each part can grow as an independent organism. Means the remaining part of the body can be grown. For example, planaria. If planaria is cut into two parts, then each part will grow as an independent planaria. Similarly, all of you might have seen lizard. The very famous example is there of this regeneration. Lizard shed off the tail because the tail part has regenerative cells. And if you have observed, the tail again regenerates. Next method is budding. In budding, we have seen unicellular organisms also reproduce by budding way. Multicellular organisms also produce themselves by the process of budding. What is bud? Bud is an outgrowth on a parent body. This outgrowth gets nourishment from the parent body, for example, Hydra. Under favorable conditions, a bud grows on the body of parent Hydra, the dermal layers and the cavity, digestive cavity of parent Hydra and young Hydra. It is in continuation. So nourishment is given to the young Hydra by the parent Hydra, and when the full growth of that young Hydra is there with the tentacles and all other parts, then this young Hydra gets detached from the parent Hydra and it grows as an independent organism. Next way of reproduction in multicellular plants is by vegetative propagation. Now, what is meant by vegetative propagation? Vegetative propagation means the reproduction of a plant by the vegetative parts like root, stem, leaf and bud. For example, vegetative reproduction by roots, onion, radish, carrot, and vegetative reproduction by the stem, that is, for example, potato. Then we have bryophyllum leaf. The edges of the leaf are very able to give birth or to give rise the new plant. Next is spore formation. The fungi-like mucor has filamentous body and it contains sporangia at the tip. This sporangia contains spores and the spores are responsible for the reproduction of the new mucor. Once spores are formed in sporangia, then sporangia burst open and spores are released. Spores germinate in the warm and damp place and there is reproduction of new colonies of fungi. Next we will see sexual reproduction in living organisms. First of all, sexual reproduction, what is the meaning of that? Sexual reproduction is a mode of reproduction in which two parents are involved or two gametes are involved, female gamete and male gamete. There are two steps of this sexual reproduction. One is gamete formation and the second is fertilization. In the gamete formation, the male gamete and the female gamete are formed in respective male body and female body respectively, and the process, if you have studied in the second chapter, that is meiosis, if you learn, then gametes are formed by the cell division, that is meiosis. So in male body, male gametes are formed by meiosis, and in female body, female gametes are formed by meiosis. In fertilization process, the union of male gamete and female gamete takes place and it forms zygote. This zygote grows into a new organism. First of all, here we'll understand what is the advantage of sexual reproduction. As here cell division takes place to form the gametes, and the cell division is meiosis. So the genetic recombination is occurring and variation is seen in the living organism of the next generation. So it becomes very beneficial for them to adapt with the new surrounding or change in the surrounding. Though the sexual reproduction is very slow process, but the variation is seen in the next generation. That is the very plus point of this sexual reproduction. So let's see first sexual reproduction in plants. In all flowering plants, flower is the functional unit of reproduction. Flower has four whorls: calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. Out of these four whorls, androecium and gynoecium means the male reproductive part androecium and female reproductive part gynoecium. These both are essential whorls because the gametes are there in these two parts. Gametes are formed in these two parts and the fertilization is also occurring in these two parts. Then next, calyx and corolla are the accessory whorls. The function of calyx is to protect the flower when it is in bud conditions. Each member of the calyx is called as sepals. The function of corolla is to attract the insects for pollination. Corolla has different color petals and fragrance also. Each member of corolla is called as petals. Then we'll see the structure of androecium and gynoecium. If there is stalk to hold the flower, then the flower is called as pedicellate flower. The stalk is called pedicel. And if there is no stalk to hold the flower, then that flower is called as sessile flower. The flower is called as unisexual flower if any single reproductive part, that is androecium or gynoecium, is present in the flower. So the plant or the flower is called male flower or female flower. But if both the sexual organs are present in the same flower, then that flower is called as bisexual flower.